Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to r/relationship advice, where we have an incredible story with comments and updates. If you're new to this channel, a sub would be great. Let's jump to the stories. Our story is, I, female 34, started dating my best friend, male 36, and it has been a disaster. I'm just so sad and frustrated that I have to post this. A little over a year ago, shortly after a breakup, one of my best friends told me he liked me and wanted to know if we could try dating. While he had a lot of the character traits I admired, I had not really ever thought of him as being someone I could date. He was my friend, and I don't think of opposite-sex friends in romantic ways. We were pretty close. We had known each other through other relationships, and I had even given him dating advice. I enjoyed hanging out with him and talking to him, and I trusted that he was a good person. He was the kind of guy that I could have confidently set up with a single friend, thinking that he would be a good dude. I was really shocked when he told me he liked me. At first, I told him no. I wanted more time to be single and to take care of myself after getting out of a relationship. But he asked a few more times and pointed out how much we have in common. Honestly, I did feel a bit pressured, and I think this was a huge red flag that I should have paid more attention to. After a few weeks of thinking about it and a few more conversations, I decided to give it a shot, and we slowly started spending more time together. I realized that we did have a lot in common, a lot of similar interests and personality traits, and it seemed like we had similar goals and priorities. I allowed myself to explore romantic feelings towards him, and slowly they developed. We fell in love and things seemed great. We seemed physically compatible as well. Well, all that good stuff lasted maybe 3 to 4 months, and it has been a downhill train wreck ever since. I think the only reason we are still dating is that he thinks he still loves me. I'm not sure if I believe it is love or just some kind of codependent attachment. And breaking up would probably permanently ruin any friendship we had. We went from being able to talk about anything to fighting about almost everything. And while I have some theories on why, I don't really know. I feel like I'm just trying to have a normal discussion with him, and then suddenly he's angry. I think he actually just subconsciously doesn't like it when women assert themselves, or make any suggestion that they are not perfectly happy with him. There are too many problems, too many fights, too many disagreements to go into here. We tried couples counseling and got a horrible therapist who caused more problems than she fixed. I cannot recommend against BetterHelp.com and Regain.us more strongly. He's refused and then delayed getting individual therapy, but he really wants me to go back to therapy. And I want to as well, but I can't afford it. He can afford therapy for himself though. He researched doing more couples therapy, and I kind of decided the cost wasn't worth it. He talked about maybe taking a 3-month break from dating, not really a breakup, so we can work on ourselves. I said we needed either break up for real or work on the relationship. I'm not a high schooler looking to be in relationship limbo for the summer. Instead, we've been avoiding each other because unless we're just watching a movie or doing something fun, we get into arguments. Not only that, but his accusations of my bad behavior are absolutely delusional. He calls things controlling and abusive that just aren't. It blows my mind that he brings certain things up like this as a problem. I don't want to get too specific because it might be identifiable since I've spoken to some friends about this, but here's an example. If I ask him to help me carry some grocery bags, he might decide I'm being controlling. If I sound angry at all in an argument, he says he feels unsafe and I'm being abusive. He wants me to smile and use a super sweet tone of voice, even when we're having an argument. I feel like I'm being policed in a sexist kind of way. What's most disturbing, and what sums up a lot of our issues, is that we experience reality totally differently. He remembers events completely differently, and when I found out the version he told our therapist, I was appalled. Not only was his version of things incredibly different and painted me as a psycho bad guy, but he also never told me this was his version of events. He only told the therapist. Going back to my example of the grocery bags, we argued afterward, and he said I was controlling when I asked, but I thought that was just him speaking in hyperbole, because it made so little sense for him to get upset with me for asking him to do something so normal as helping carry grocery bags from a store. But he told the therapist some kind of version where I was practically frothing at the mouth and demanding that he carry the bags and made a scene, which didn't happen. It is bonkers. Because we can't communicate, our physical relationship has gotten worse and worse. He has some kind of erectile dysfunction. He refuses to go to the doctor for it, and he's very sensitive about it, and hardly ever can be in the mood for sex when I want to have sex. I can't talk to him about what I prefer in sex without him saying I'm telling him what he's doing wrong. The last few times I tried to talk about it, he got angry. The last time we had sex, he got mad at me for not immediately giving him positive feedback about his performance because he was feeling insecure. I'm at the point where I don't even want him to touch me. It is just not worth it. I thought I wanted to marry my best friend, and I thought maybe he would be the one where things worked out for us. I thought since we had known each other for 4 years, we would be on a solid foundation. Now I think he didn't really know himself, and I didn't really know him, and he didn't know me, and I feel kind of bait and switched. He says he likes strong, confident women, but freaks out if I ever express any level of anger in my voice or facial expression. He said he had a high libido. Before this awful relationship, my last 2 partners and I had sex 1 to 2 times daily, and I loved it. But he is almost never interested in sex unless he has morning wood. He acts like he is the mature one in the room when it comes to handling disagreements, but he's the one who gets up and leaves while I'm mid-sentence, stomps off mad, refuses to talk, or slams the door on his way out. I thought he was reasonably confident and knew me well enough to trust me in relationships, but he has accused me of cheating on him completely out of the blue, with 0 reasons to think that I would or even logistically could do that. If he believes I'm an abusive cheater, why does he want to date me? I just don't understand any of this. I've talked to a very few trusted friends about this, and they were shocked too. I'm very, what you see is what you get, and I'm an extremely open communicator in my relationships. They say, he knew you super well. He knew what you were like. Why is he deciding now that he doesn't like me? And that's how I feel too. He keeps saying that he loves me and is in love with me and only wants me and wants us to work. But I feel like he doesn't really. He can't stand anything about the relationship not being perfect, and any normal conflict gets blown out of proportion. I'm not perfect. Neither is he. Conflict is normal, and he just can't deal with it. We've had too many discussions about this, and they aren't helping. Anyway, I see a lot of posts about people talking about falling in love with their best friends, and a lot of people say, go for it. Tell them. What's the worst that can happen? Well, folks, here it is. It would have been better for me to turn him down and go through a little bit of awkwardness in the relationship than to date him for over a year and have it blow up in both our faces, thus probably nuking any potential future friendship. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to date your best friend. I suspect that it usually turns out better for other people than it did with us. But I think you should also be aware that sometimes it doesn't work out, like at all. I feel like a moron, and I don't know why I keep trying to make this work. At this point, I feel like staying single forever. Thanks for listening. I wanted to edit to add. It's not just that he gets mad about all kinds of problems. He's weirdly selfish. I'm very giving in relationships. I believe in spending quality time with people that I love, helping them when I can, giving them rides if they need them, picking them up from the airport, just being supportive. He's increasingly became selfish with his time. He wanted to hang out with me one night, and I was somewhere without a car, and he refused to drive 15 to 20 minutes to pick me up. If I ask him to help with something important and personal that I can't ask anyone else for help with, something you might do for someone if you're in a loving relationship, he'll decide whether or not it sounds fun, and then decide if he wants to help. It just stinks so much, because I thought he was different. Tinkerbeast says, he doesn't seem to be offering anything or adding any value, nor is he making any sort of real efforts. Where's the joy in this relationship? It's like he's pressuring you to stay with him with his words, not keeping you engaged with his actions. If you're not finding happiness, the best thing to do is to part ways privately so it doesn't affect the friend group. Chubby Brown Bear says, I have no idea why you're still with him. Well, I guess I understand not wanting to lose the friendship, but that can't be the only reason to stay with him. Fights are common, but if you're fighting more than you are happy with someone, I think it's time to move on. Yes, you might lose a friend, but I see no reason to stay with him. I wanted to just say as an aside that I had a very different experience with BetterHelp. I didn't use it for couples counseling. I have weekly phone sessions with a counselor, and I've been making quite a bit of progress and have been talking to her since January. I have an awkward type of relationship myself, and my counselor continues to give me excellent advice. Sorry you did not have the same type of experience. Comfortable Seaweed 4 says, personally, I try to think of a relationship as a person that brings an addition to my life, whether that is the push to be a better version of myself, or they keep you positive, or you enjoy their company and that makes you happy. Whatever it may be. What does this guy add to your life? Honestly. Or does he make you feel crappy and doubt yourself? I can't tell you what to do, but this relationship seems like it brings negativity to your life. I think it's time to move on. Enjoy being you again. Update from OP. We broke up on Sunday. It was super dumb. He picked a fight because I asked him to make more coffee for me if he drank the last of it. He made it out like this was an incredibly selfish and unreasonable request. We argued about it. He kept interrupting and saying, "You won't let me be human. Why won't you let me be human?" And I snapped and said, "F you, I'm leaving." I've never spoken to him like that before. We both knew it was over. I texted him after that and asked him to get his stuff out of my place and bring my remaining stuff over, which he did. I told him he had been an awful boyfriend and how much he hurt me. He says he still loves me and likes me, but agrees that we're not compatible. We are going no contact for the foreseeable future. I felt sad and angry that night. I'm so mad at him for being such an a-hole. I'm mad at myself for tolerating this relationship and being dumb and thinking it would get better. We talked the week prior about why I didn't want to have sex lately, and I explained how badly he made me feel. He has said he likes porn more than my body and tried to walk it back, but I can't forget it. He said he hated my makeup once, and that I looked like I was gaining weight another time, and that my breath smelled bad, and he didn't like to cuddle in bed, and just generally made me feel really awful about myself. So he spent the week before our fight being extra sweet and complimenting me on looking sexy. I think he picked the fight because he was upset that I still wasn't feeling up to having sex. This morning, I felt relieved. I know I am not in love with him. I know it was an awful relationship, but tonight, I felt sad. I missed the fantasy that I could sometimes believe in, when we had fun together and things felt good. I miss feeling like I was someone's favorite person. I'm so tired of falling in love and breaking up. I have never had a good relationship. Ever. In the 15 years I've been seriously dating, nothing has been close to healthy or happy for longer than a month or two. I feel like an awful, unwanted person and a failure at love. Unlovable. I don't have a great relationship with my family either, so I feel so alone. I know some people who have happy relationships, and I want that so badly. I felt bad about how everything had gone, how it ended with us being so angry. I stopped by his apartment and apologized through the door. I knocked and I think he came to the door and didn't open it. And I left him a note saying that I was sorry things ended that way. I wished him the best, and I would not contact him again. Our mutual friends are being kind to both of us. I know I could have done some things better, and I want to be better. But I think that unless this guy changes deeply and profoundly in different ways, we will never work. I don't know how people can be so compatible and not be able to communicate. We couldn't do it. I know I tried, and I know he thinks he tried, though I don't think he and I had the same idea of what trying means. I'm just really sad. I know I will feel better eventually, but I feel like I'm stuck on a bad ride and can't get off. As soon as I think things are on the upswing, it crashes down again. I'm so tired of it. Thanks for listening, and extra thanks to the kind people who made me feel like I wasn't crazy and worthless. It means a lot. Guitar and Psych says, I think it's for the best. I went back and read your previous post, and from the sounds of it, you guys are just incompatible in this relationship. Also, from what you've described, I think that he's showing signs of manipulation. Like others said in the comments on the previous post, run and don't look back. It'll obviously hurt for the time being, but that's how breakups always go. Just remind yourself of what the relationship was like the first time around if you ever feel like going back to him. JXP2700 says, thank you so much for posting your story. I just had a relationship end much the same way, and it left me feeling like I fail at human interactions in a deep and profound manner. Seeing someone else go through this and feel this way makes me feel like I'm not alone. I hope that's not offensive or insulting. I don't know how quite to say what I mean. I definitely admire your strength and how you dealt with everything. I wish you the best and hope you deal in a beautiful way. If you ever need to talk, I'd be glad to listen. Tumble Out of Bed says, I don't know if this is relevant, but I went through a breakup recently. I broke up with him, and I still felt so alone, like I had lost someone. And I honestly can say that it does get a bit better, and it will take a while. Even though you guys fought and weren't meant for each other, the time you spent together and the bond that you shared can't just be erased. You're allowed to feel sad, and don't be ashamed for missing him and feeling lonely. It's perfectly normal. I hope that things get better for you, and even though it might feel like this is the only relationship you'll ever have, it's not. You'll have other relationships and maybe a few heartbreaks. Just know that you are valid and your feelings are valid.